In October 2011, a construction crew in Washington, D.C. was digging deep into the earth for a new building project. The heavy machinery struck something solid, something metallic. At first, they thought it was an old iron pipe, but as they cleared away the thick, wet mud, the horrifying truth emerged. It was a casket, a rare, high-end, completely airtight copper coffin from the mid-19th century. When forensic anthropologists carefully cracked open the heavy metallic seal, they braced themselves for the smell of decay, or perhaps nothing but dust and bones. Instead, they gasped. Lying inside was a woman, perfectly preserved. Her skin was intact, her hair beautifully styled, and she was dressed in a pristine white burial gown. She looked as if she had just fallen asleep yesterday, but she hadn't been buried yesterday. She had been under the dirt for over 150 years, and the real terror wasn't how she looked. It was why someone had sealed her away in a heavy copper prison. The location of the discovery made no sense. This wasn't a cemetery. It was a busy, modern neighborhood in Columbia Heights. So who was she, and why was she left behind? There was no nameplate on the coffin, no ring on her finger, no documents. She was a ghost from the 1850s. The Smithsonian team began a frantic digital and historical investigation, digging through centuries-old burial records of Washington, D.C. They discovered that this land used to belong to a local church cemetery that was moved in the late 1800s. When the graves were relocated, this single heavy copper coffin was somehow forgotten, left alone in the dark. Through advanced chemical analysis of her bones and teeth, scientists unlocked her first secret. She was young, likely in her early 20s, and she had spent her life eating a high-protein diet. This meant one thing. She belonged to an elite, wealthy American family, but wealth cannot buy immunity from the horrors of the 19th century. When medical experts examined her lungs and skin tissues, the pieces of the puzzle finally slammed together, and it sent a shiver down their spines. In the 1850s, a devastating, highly contagious killer was sweeping through America: smallpox. It was a brutal disease that caused terrible skin lesions and killed its victims within days. This young woman had contracted smallpox. When she died, her wealthy family was terrified of the infection spreading. In a desperate act of fear and love, they purchased a Fisk metallic coffin, an expensive, airtight copper capsule. It wasn't just a luxurious casket, it was a biohazard quarantine box. They sealed her body inside to physically lock the deadly virus away from the living world forever. Eventually, researchers matched the data to a name: Martha Radcliffe, a 22-year-old woman who passed away in New York and was buried in D.C. in 1852. After being accidentally left behind by history, unearthed by modern machines, and solving a 150-year-old medical mystery, Martha was finally laid to rest once again in 2012, this time with her name properly carved into stone. A forgotten soul, trapped in copper, waiting for the world to find her. The earth holds millions of secrets, but eventually, the graves always whisper. If you want to uncover more buried history and chilling mysteries, hit that subscribe button and don't let our next story stay forgotten. See you in the dark.